story told by Margaret Maguire, grandchild of Trail of Tears refugees. In 1838, my grandfather, Washington Lee, came to the territory and stopped at Westville. He was driven from his home in Georgia over the Trail of Tears with all the other Cherokee Indians, and while on the trail somewhere he lost his father and mother and sister, and never saw them anymore. He did not know whether they died or got lost. The Cherokees had to walk. All the old people who were too weak to walk could ride in the government wagons that hauled the food and the blankets which they allowed to have. The food was most always cornbread or roasted green corn. Sometimes the men who had charge of the Indians would kill a buffalo and would let the Indians cut some of it and roast it. The food on the Trail of Tears was very bad and very scarce, and the Indians would go for 2 or 3 days without water. They would get water only when they came to a creek or river, as there were no wells to get water from. There were no roads to travel over, as the country was just a wilderness. The men and women would go ahead of the wagons and cut the timber out of the way with axes. This trail started in Georgia and went across Kentucky, Tennessee and through Missouri into the territory and ended at Westville, where Old Fort Payne was. Old Fort Wayne was built to shelter the Indians until some houses could be built. Aunt Chin Deanawash was my grandmother's sister, and she came from Georgia on the Trail of Tears. Her husband died shortly after they got out of Georgia and left her to battle her way through with 3 small children, one who could not walk. Aunt Chin tied the little one on her back with an old shawl. She took one child in her arms and led the other by the hand. The 2 larger children died before they had gone so very far, and the little one died, and Aunt Chin took a broken case knife and dug a grave and buried the little body by the side of the Trail of Tears. The Indians did not have food of the right kind to eat, and Aunt Chin came on alone and lived for years after this.